You thought I was going to say Gone with the Wind. I was going to say Django Unchained. So, wow, this is the biggest crowd I've ever performed in front of. This is very exciting for me. This may come as a surprise to you based on my youthful appearance, but I became a grandfather last week. Yeah, thank you. You should get a big round of applause for that. My daughter had a baby on Thursday, and thank you. Apparently, I have to come up with a grandfather name now for the kid to call me. And my wife wants me to pick out a fun name, something like Goompaw or Peepaw or something like that.
Yeah.
But I really don't want to pick out a fun name. I want to pick out a name that reflects my personality. So I'm leaning towards Psycho. I think Viper might be good. I think it would be really cool for my grandson to say things like, can we have a sleepover this weekend with Nene and Blood Raven? Or, gosh, we had so much fun at the petting zoo today with Meemaw and the Kraken. But even though these are obviously really good grandfather names, I'm getting a lot of pushback from my family. They don't like them. In fact, the only one who is supporting me in this is my son-in-law, Snake. So, you may have noticed in that last joke, all of the grandfather names I used had hard consonant sounds in them. And I did that for a reason, because comedians know that words with hard consonant sounds, people tend to laugh at them more. And that's why they use a lot of words like that. But there are some words that you just shouldn't say, even though they have hard consonants in them. And the C word is one of them. And that word is vulgar, it's offensive, people get very upset with you when you say it. And I learned that the hard way when I gave the best man's toast at my brother's wedding. And yeah, in hindsight, it probably would have been better if I had not used the C word when talking about the bride. I think the toast would have gone a lot better if I had just done like everybody else in my family and called her a bitch. Yeah. So, speaking of brothers, I have a neighbor who is like a brother to me, which is good because my actual brother doesn't talk to me anymore after that wedding toast. And my neighbor and I are so close, we've made a pact. And if he dies before me, I'm going to make sure that his wife and kids are taken care of financially. And if I die before him, he's going to sneak into my house and delete my internet browser history before my wife sees it. So, y'all may have picked up on the fact that I am an older white guy. No, it's true. No, I am. Yeah, it's true. And because of this, sadly, a lot of people just assume that I'm a racist. And I want to be clear on this. I am not a racist. I have a number of black friends. And in fact, if he were here tonight, he would attest to the fact that I'm not a racist. But since he's not here to attest for me, would you be my friend?
I did.
All right, buddy. I'll do that. Right on, my brother. All right. I got two black friends now. Now, it really shouldn't surprise anybody that I'm not a racist because my parents were not racist either. In fact, when I was a kid, we lived right next door to a black family. Actually, we didn't live next door to them for very long. Shortly after they moved in, my parents moved us to a different part of town. But I think that was just a coincidence. So, earlier this year, I found out that I am on the autism spectrum. And I have mild autism, which is to say I have useless autism. I'm just autistic enough to make people feel a little bit uncomfortable in social situations, but I'm not so autistic that I can profit from it in any way. Like Rain Man, you mentioned him earlier. Right? Rain Man could go in the casino, count cards, and win money at the blackjack table. I would be hard-pressed to qualify for TV's Love on the Spectrum. I mean, all I can really do is annoy people and obsess over things that interest and excite me. And when I was 9 years old, I learned to play chess. And I was obsessed with chess for like 2 years. And when I was 11, I started playing putt-putt golf, miniature golf. And I was obsessed with putt-putt for like the next 4 years. And when I was 15, I had a friend named Patty Garvin, who was a couple of years older than me. And one day, I was at Patty's house, and Patty showed me her breasts. Yes. And right then and there, I was exposed to something that interested and excited me way more than Putt-Putt ever had. and that was when I stopped being obsessed with Putt-Putt, and I became obsessed with breasts instead. And breasts were I thought about breasts all the time. And in fact, breasts were the only thing I could think about for the next, gosh, I guess it's been about 50 years now. And I want to point out in that last joke, I said the word breasts a number of times, and I could have said the word boobs, and I could have said the word tits. And those words would have been funnier because they have hard consonants in them. Right. But I didn't do it because I didn't want to milk a breast joke for a cheap laugh. And the last thing I want to say about the autism. I'm 65 years old. I didn't even realize I had it until a few months ago. But it turns out that my wife, who has a PhD in psychology, figured out that I had it about 20 years ago, and she didn't bother to tell me. And I don't know why she decided to keep it a secret for so long, but the joke's on her, because the other night we were in bed together, and I felt a lump on one of her breasts, and I'm going to wait 20 years to tell her. And then we'll see how she feels about keeping secrets. So thank you very much. I didn't see a light from over here. I'm assuming it was coming. I know the next comedian is anxious to get on stage. So thank you very much.